Welcome back to another video here on the Washington Football Maniacs YouTube channel. My name is Greg, and if you're new here, of course, look around you. This podcast, this video is dedicated to news and commentary for the Washington Commanders. Some still call them Redskins, some call them the football team, but we're calling them winners. And if you're down with that, please make sure that you have subscribed to the channel. And also, when you do, make sure you hit that notification bell so you won't miss any other video releases. So they finally released the schedule. I thought that the schedule was being released on the 12th, but it was actually released on the 14th. We just got little teasers of what was going to happen back on the 12th, but a couple of days ago, the official release of the 2025 season for the Washington Commanders. We're going to go over that in today's video, and I'm telling you, it's a brutal schedule, man. I mean, it is brutal, but I guess you can call this team prime time because, I mean, hardly there's not very many 1 o'clock games in the schedule. You know, we have been so used to in the past probably decade of coming home from church, or if you heathens who don't go to church and just sleep in, I'm just kidding. You know, as soon as you eat lunch, you turn on TV, you start watching the Commanders or the Redskins. And then, you know, football's done for you by 4 o'clock. You're either so mad of the game, and so you know, or either you're like, all right, I'll just I'll watch a good team or something like that, and you know, just it's kind of how it is. You know, it's like after 4 o'clock, you're like, what do I have left the rest of the day? But it is funny how 1 year of a team turning things around, going to the NFC conference title game, suddenly everybody, they want to show the Commanders to the entire nation. And so that's what you're getting with the schedule. Now, for me personally, I mean, I like primetime games. The only thing I don't like is if I have work the next day and, you know, you're staying up late. I'm not really a late night owl like I used to be. And, you know, I have to be in work at a decent time, you know, your average time to go into work. And so I like sleep. I like to get plenty of sleep. And so I kind of understand those who actually go to the game. You know, I can see how that's kind of bad for them, knowing they have to get up to work the next day. They're probably not getting back home until probably after midnight, some maybe even longer than that, then having to get up and work the next day. So I feel your pain on that. It's a little bit easier when you're watching it on TV because as soon as the game is over, you can jump straight into bed. But yeah, if you're going to these games, you know, probably have to take off the next day, honestly, to function. Anyway, enough of that. Let's get into the schedule, folks. So here is the 2025 season for the Washington Commanders. We're going to go through each of these. All right, of course, toward the end of the season, having to go through 4 NFC East games, with 2 of those being the Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles, that is brutal. Straight up, dog. That is brutal. This is so brutal. You know, starting off, you know, I mean, you got some tough games there, some good games. Right away, we're starting off with an NFC East division game, one of the few 1 o'clock games against the New York Giants. This is a home game. You know, we only have like through the first 6 games. Well, I don't know. It's 3-3. So you got 6 home games, 6 away games. That's probably not too bad. But yeah, we're starting off with the New York Giants in the first game, and then we go to Green Bay, that is a very tough game right there. Very tough game on 9/11. Um, that's a primetime game, folks. So Green Bay at night. Everybody's going to want to watch that game. You know, uh, Love against uh, Daniels. So yeah, man. I mean, tough game indeed. And then we go back home and we're playing the Raiders. The Raiders. Um, you know, again, I think that's a game that, of course, on paper you feel like Washington should win, but at the same time, none of these seem like easy games to me on the schedule at all. After that, oh wow, I mean you're playing Atlanta. That you remember last year's game, we had to beat Atlanta to get into the playoffs. Michael Penix, he's going to have his first full year starting for the Falcons. That's a 1 o'clock game. It's going to be tough. It's going to be in Atlanta. A lot of these games, it feels like there's going to be some retribution type games, right? So the Commanders going to have to be ready for that. We beat Atlanta in overtime to make the playoffs last year. They're going to be they're going to be out for blood. They really are. And then we stay on the road and we go to LA to face the Chargers. I still want to call them San Diego. That is a 4 p.m. game, 4:25 to be exact. Jim Harbaugh has this team. It's funny. Jim Harbaugh seemed like his offense is one what I call the old Redskins type of offense. It's the quarterbacks lining up over the center, a lot of running. He's really trying to make that into more of a old school powerhouse type of offense, is what it looks like. That's going to be an interesting game. Going to be a fun game to watch. Talking about a fun game to watch, the rematch, right? From the Hail Mary, the Maryland Miracle, as they wanted to call it, from last year, playing the Chicago Bears. This is another primetime game. People want to see Caleb versus Jaden one more time, and another retribution game being played. So, wow, I know that Caleb Williams is going to be much more improved. I know Chicago is going to be much more improved. This is going to be an interesting game. Very interesting game. I can't wait for that. And then we play the Dallas Cowboys in Dallas. That's one day before my anniversary. Me and my wife's anniversary on the 19th. Dallas Cowboys in Dallas. Well, yeah, thereabouts. Tough game, certainly. I mean, none of these games are easy. This is a brutal schedule because after Dallas, then you stay on the road and you go to Kansas City to play the Chiefs. And that is another primetime game. We stay in prime time the week after that at home going against the Seattle Seahawks. I mean, there's a lot of primetime games for these Washington Commanders. And then after that, a 4 o'clock game against the Detroit Lions. Thank God that game's going to be a home game. But Detroit's going to be, they're going to be after blood for this because they want to be able to have some retribution against the Commanders for knocking them out of the playoffs. Many people felt it was going to be Detroit and Philadelphia in that championship game. I was just happy for Washington to make it to the divisional round and for them to actually beat the Lions, and we beat them pretty solid as well. But the Lions, we're assuming they're going to be healthy at this point. It's not going to be a team depleted, with a lot of injuries and stuff like that. They're going to be ready, and so let's see what happens. Let's get it going, folks. And then an international game after that, the next week against the Miami Dolphins. Now, this is the one where I feel like, out of honestly, any of these games can go either way. I don't look at any of these games on the schedule going, this is going to be a clear cut victory. I really don't, because I feel like a lot of these games are going to be very close, very hard fought games. A lot of these teams are good teams. Yeah, the Raiders are rebuilding, um, but I feel like that, we're not quite sure on Seattle. But I don't feel like any of these games, and I'm not trying to be a soft fan of the Commanders. I just feel like none of these games look easy. And, this international game against the Dolphins, I still don't think this is the only one I feel like we can win. But 9:30 a.m. in the morning. So, I don't like these games just because, I like to be able to go to church, and it's kind of hard to concentrate on the service when you're missing the game. Lord, forgive me, but, it's just how it is. Thank God after that, there's a bye. That bye comes at a great time for the Commanders. I mean, you're looking at a brutal schedule, man. Um, I mean, who knows? I mean, this schedule can go either way. Honestly, I think that's why that it's important the Commanders still continue to build on defense, because offensively, offensive line, I feel like they're fine. Offensively, I think they're going to be great. Defensively, they got some pieces, but I still feel better if they can get some edge help. So this is a brutal schedule, but I think they're built to compete. So let's see how it goes. When they come back from the bye week in week 13, another primetime game against the um, the Denver Broncos. Bo Nix. It's going to be a lot of people wanted to see this Super Bowl. Well, a lot of people want to see Commanders versus Broncos or Commanders versus Bills. Either one would have been a rematch from the 80s and 90s. So that's going to be an interesting game. It's home game for Washington. I do feel like each game that's considered home game is going to be an edge for the Commanders, just because, there's a lot more Commanders fans going now. And there's going to be a lot more going, of course, this year than previous years. And you're going to see a packed out house. You're not going to see a packed out house with opposing teams fans. You're going to see a lot more Commanders fans. So that's the reason why I give the Commanders an edge at home with any of these. Then they travel to Minnesota, one of the rare 1:00 games. Who's their quarterback? Who's their quarterback going to be at this point? Is JJ McCarthy going to finally see the field at this point? Who knows? They stay on the road, another 1:00 game. It's funny, the Giants are the only team. Oh, no, I can't take that. I take that back. I started to say the Giants are the only NFC East team to play Washington at 1:00, but I'm wrong. We do play the Cowboys a couple of weeks later at 1:00. Now, the Eagles games, both of those are to be announced as far as what time that we're playing either one. These could be primetime games. These could be 4:00 games. I doubt that either one's going to be 1:00 games. I really doubt that. These, depending on, honestly, I think it depends on the the standings at this point, the records, if the Eagles and the Commanders are just like they were last year at this point, these are going to be huge games. You're probably going to see even more primetime games added. I do think that at least one of those games is going to be a primetime game. Could be the last game of the season. Could be that 12-20 game there. I will say I don't like my Commanders playing on Christmas Day. I like being able to spend time with my family and not have to think about watching football, but it is what it is. So, and I know that I will be in town on Christmas Day. Uh, I have family that lives about an hour away that we either see them on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day. We'll probably see them Christmas Eve this year. So we'll be in town to watch the Cowboys on Christmas Day get beat by the Washington Commanders. Just want to add that in. That will be a home game. So that'd be fun. That'd be a nice Christmas present for us if we can win that game. Overall, do I have a prediction of what this record's going to be? Honestly, I mean, in the past, I would say, man, if I was looking at this schedule before last year, I would be like, man, we're going to be lucky if we win 3 games because you know games that I see that right away that I think that we can win. I think we could beat the Raiders. I think we can beat Miami. Um, San Diego. I knew I was going to say that. LA Chargers. That's a toss up. Chicago. It's a toss up as well. I would give us the edge just because it's home game. Seattle. I think we can win. So 1, 2, 3. I think we can beat the Giants. I think we could sweep the Giants. 5, 6. Um, I mean, we could be 7 or 8 wins in this season, or we can be another 12 wins. It really depends on, I think, a couple of factors. I think it's going to depend on how improved Dallas is. I think the Giants are still working things out. I don't think the Giants are necessarily going to be worlds better. I think we can sweep the Giants. Um, Dallas, really, again, it depends. We could either sweep them or they could sweep us or we could split. But I think it depends on if we sweep Dallas, if we sweep the New York Giants. Um, at worst, I could see 10 wins. I think we still make the playoffs at 10 wins. Um, if we split any of those, it's a toss up. Um, I think we can steal one from the Eagles. I think we can. So, I really see that, at worst, honestly, at worst, I would say 9 or 10 wins. And I'm being very conservative here. I want to see us make the playoffs twice, 2 years in a row and go deep in the playoffs 2 years in a row to really feel like this team is 100% back. But at worst, I see 9 or 10 wins. At best, again, another 12-win season for the Commanders. But this is a brutal schedule. And would I be surprised if it was worse? I wouldn't necessarily be surprised because these are tough teams. I would say losses out of any of this schedule here um, would not be by much. I mean, you're looking at close, hard fought battles. There's not going to be none of these teams, even the Chiefs. None of these teams scare me, but none of these teams would beat us by much. It would come down to the wire. Even though a lot of people still feel like Detroit is a much better team than the Commanders, but you're looking at last year. you're looking at Detroit being healthy for this year and looking at the Commanders from last year. I think the Commanders are going to be improved. A lot of people are looking at this and saying, well, guess what? Last year, we got all the way to the championship game. We won 12 games, and this was supposed to be the worst team that the Commanders ever had. I'm being conservative with my prediction on this. I do feel like the Commanders are going to be much more improved. They're going to have a better offensive line. You are going to see some points on the defense is going to be much more improved, but I still feel like there's still some gaps on that defensive squad that needs to be addressed. But for the most part, um, let's just say optimistically that the Commanders are much more improved than last year. Then you're looking at the schedule going, you know what? Um, this schedule may not be as bad because these are teams that most of all these teams can be playoff teams. Maybe the exception of the Raiders are probably still rebuilding. Um, I'm not quite sure about Seattle. The Giants, you never know what they're going to have. But most of these teams are playoff caliber teams, even Chicago. I know Chicago only won, what was it, 4 games, 4 or 5 games last year, but they're going to be improved. So, yeah, I think overall, even though it's a brutal schedule, the Commanders are going to be improved. They're going to win enough games to make the playoffs. That I feel beyond a shadow of a doubt. It just really depends on how healthy we stay, how good we look from the start. Is that offense going to continue to work on all cylinders? How much is that defense going to be improved? Defense, that's really the question mark right now. How much more improved will that defense be? If that defense is starting to look more like a shutdown type of defense, if they can stop the running game, that's the biggest thing. Are they built to slow down that running game? If that's the case, then this Commander squad is going to be right back in there in the championship game again, honestly. And I feel like if they are able to win 12 games out of this schedule, they deserve to get back to the championship game. So, yeah, I mean, what can I say? I don't want to sound like a homer, so I'm trying my best not to sound like a homer, because number one, I don't feel like that last year was a mirage. I really feel like this is a preview of what you're going to see out of the squad for the next several years. But at the same time, I'm very conservative because I don't think that this team is going to be completely 100% built to be a championship caliber team just yet. There's still some pieces, but they picked up some pieces, and it's also going to be all right. How Adam Peters got some guys, and we covered this in a video. Please go back and check out the video that I had concerning some of the rookie mini camp. For instance, there's some guys that you feel like out of those latter rounds that are going to wind up really contributing a lot more than what we consider. And so it really depends on those diamonds in the rough. It's kind of like how Bobby Beathard was. A lot of the Redskins' success came from those diamond in the rough players that he found in latter drafts, castaways from other teams. And it's a similar thing with Adam Peters. Can he make it? Are we going to hit a home run with Cosby? Is it Cosby? Crosby Merritt. Are we going to make it a home run with him? Because if so, then that's going to be awesome for our offensive line. Tunsil, of course, was a huge pickup for us. So, I mean, really, it's going to come down to those latter picks. I think is going to be the difference. If we hit home runs on those guys, then I still say edge rushers and improving depth along that defensive front is going to be the telltale sign of if this Commanders team is ready to really make a Super Bowl push. But a lot of people are picking this team to be a Super Bowl favorite. Um, I hope that's the case, but I'm going to be conservative and be like, it is going to be a struggle because it's going to be a harder schedule this year. So, if they're able to squeeze out 11 or 12 wins, I call that fantastic for this team. Folks, if you agree with me, please, give me a shout out. If you don't, hey, let me know. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section. But there you go, folks. This is the schedule release for the Washington Commanders for the 2025 season. If you enjoyed this video, you stuck with me, give me a like, give me a share. And with that said, I guess I am going to see you in the next one. Take care, folks.